Kathy, Painting Oregon's Harvest actually didn't begin in Oregon. It began in the Midwest when you were invited, along with a number of other artists, to go there to do some painting.
Yeah, so it was really a terrific experience. I was very lucky to be chosen to get to go to this project called Art and Agriculture. And the people there, you know, loved their land, and they were very proud of everything. And it was a great experience to get to go back and see, like, what you studied about in 5th grade, you know, it was like the breadbasket. Mm-hmm. And what struck me was the difference between how Oregon farmers, they were just much smaller scale than what was happening back in the Midwest that I saw. So I thought, you know what, that would be a really terrific project. It would be a chance to showcase these great places in Oregon, plus give me the guilty pleasure of going out and visiting people that, you know, raised interesting crops, and I'd get to meet them.
With so many great farms, so many century farms, so many family farms scattered all over Oregon, what was your selection process? How did you pick?
It couldn't just be a hobby farmer. It had to be somebody that actually, if you wanted to go buy cranberry juice, if I went to the cranberry bogs, you needed to be able to, as a consumer, source that product. So that's one of the reasons I chose Vincent Family Cranberries down in Bandon, because they had an identifiable product that was available to the public. We went to Susan Sokolblosser's beautiful vineyard and painted for, you know, 2 or 3 days. And then we got an opportunity to sit down and have dinner with all the vintners, and we went around this long table, and everybody talked about how they got into whatever their medium was, how they were painting, and then the winemakers also spoke, and it just became so clear that their crop was just like a painting that a painter would work on. They have 1 canvas a year. So that really resonated with me and made me want to continue on and talk to other people about their farming practices and what they do.
Your images capture what it is that these farmers and ranchers and fisher folk do, but they also tell their stories. How do you do that?
One interesting thing about being a painter is it's not necessarily like a photograph. So I can compile all kinds of things. So the best experiences are when I get to go out and spend almost a whole day with the farmers, and then they kind of tell you their story, and you can sort of synthesize. Oftentimes I'd ask them, what's your favorite place on this ranch, or what's your favorite time of year, and that would really help me. And when I do the paintings, I try and include some little element that gives it a sense of place. So, you know, when you're painting vineyards, you have these lines and lines and lines of vines. If I didn't place that with the Douglas firs and the deciduous trees that were turning color, and kind of the hills of the Dundee and that region, it could kind of be anywhere. You know, I didn't want anybody to mistake it for Tuscany.
A number of the places which you went are so-called century farms, been in families for well over 100 years. Talk a little bit, please, about what you felt or what you saw and heard and experienced in the relationship between those families and their land.
The land almost has a personality of its own and becomes a family member. That's really the way people approached it, and they treated it like maybe a family elder. But the really terrific thing was just seeing the passion that people had and how much they cared for the land.
Kathy, what do you hope people take away from this Painting Oregon's Harvest exhibit?
I feel like the farmers, they're doing great work, and what they provide for us is like a gift. So to have the gift go unrecognized would be like taking someone a gift and then remaining unopened. So hopefully they'll get an idea of some of the great things that are out here and support our local farmers and have some great food.